You won't believe what Francine did when she found out Stan erased her entire identity. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the many times Francine's life wasn't exactly what it seemed. Starting with the time Francine ditched her entire family, it all kicks off when Stan forgets their anniversary again.
Oh, I forgot our anniversary. I'm never gonna do that again.
This time, Francine isn't letting it slide, but instead of apologizing or doing literally anything remotely thoughtful, Stan takes the CIA route. He wipes her memory. Because why deal with your mistakes when you can just erase them? The problem is, he doesn't just erase the last day, he erases everything.
Narc! Narc!
What? Oh God, is there a bee on me? Oh, does it look Africanized?
Hey, baby.
Mom!
Francine wakes up with no memory of being married, no memory of her kids, and no idea who Stan is. As far as she knows, she's single, carefree, and ready to embrace the life she thinks she's been living. Naturally, she moves out, and just like that, party girl Francine is back. She jumps straight into her old lifestyle, no rules, no responsibilities, just chaos. Meanwhile, Stan is spiraling. He accidentally erased his wife, and now he has to win her back. But how do you make someone fall in love with you all over again when they don't even remember you? Stan, being the CIA-trained genius that he is, decides that the best solution is stalking. Yep, full-blown, hiding in the shadows, peering through bushes stalking. He follows Francine everywhere, waiting for the right moment to reintroduce himself. She's too busy partying to care until she runs into her ex, and suddenly the past she thought she wanted doesn't seem so great anymore. This guy, a total disaster. Maybe the wild, no-strings-attached life isn't all it's cracked up to be. Maybe she had something good. Maybe, just maybe, Stan was worth remembering. And that's when Stan makes his move. Does Francine get her memory back? No, but she does take a chance on Stan, deciding that maybe the life she forgot wasn't so bad after all. But just when you think Francine's life can't get any more unpredictable, we move on to the time one wrong vegetable almost turned her into a murderer. Fart Break Hotel Season 6, Episode 9. It all started with okra. One wrong vegetable at dinner, and suddenly Francine is ready to kill her entire family.
Sometimes I escape to a little place in my head where no one complains about the meals I cook. And there's no more scraping snot rockets off the shower tiles. And no more PB&J with the crust cut off.
The complaints push her over the edge, but before she snaps, Roger warns them okra messes up his stomach. Stan forces him to eat it anyway. That night, Roger's toxic fart nearly takes out the whole family, forcing them to evacuate and stay at a DC hotel. The Smiths treat it like a vacation. Francine sees an escape. At a business convention in the hotel, she finds a dead woman's name tag and decides to steal her identity. Now she's Sarah Blanche, a concrete saleswoman, and she's great at it. Roger, who's also at the convention as Pete Pendelman, a washed-up salesman, warns her not to get too deep, but Francine doesn't listen.
There are over 1 million Chinese people in China alone. And I'm here to tell you, they are a-comin', folks. And they've been going pee-pee in our Coke for years. So let's keep the yellow out of our red, white, and blue.
She climbs the corporate ladder fast. Then she's offered a CEO job in Portland. And just like that, Francine leaves her family behind. 10 years later, she's rich but alone. On her way to a business convention, she checks on her old family. They've moved on, realizing she made a mistake. Francine time travels back and warns herself not to take the job. She returns to her old life, but this time, she makes a deal. Every Thursday is now her day. No chores, no routine, just Francine time. But if you thought Francine's biggest secret was almost abandoning her entire family, wait until you find out her whole personality was a lie. White Rice Season 7, Episode 5. The episode begins with Francine and Stan having a familiar argument. She wants to move her aging parents into town, and Stan refuses. Instead of outright shutting her down, he offers to go to therapy with her. Francine sees this as progress. Unaware that something is off, Stan brings her to Sal, their so-called therapist, who is actually a hypnotist. For 20 years, Stan has been bringing Francine to Sal to erase any memory of conversations or decisions he doesn't want to deal with. Each time, while Francine is hypnotized, Stan leaves to get a sandwich. Francine has no idea this has been happening. believing her life has continued as normal. Sal has been patient, but after 20 years of being ignored, he's done. Instead of erasing Francine's memories as usual, he restores all of them at once.
I'm gonna go grab a sandwich.
Oh, I'll have a...
Francine instantly remembers everything: arguments, betrayals, and even the things Stan never wanted her to think about again. At first, she is furious over the usual grievances, such as Stan sleep punching her and not vaccinating Haley's twin brother, leading to his death. Then, the memories become more shocking. She remembers her home office, which Stan had erased from her mind and converted into his plate room. Inside the floor of that room, she finds a videotape. She plays the tape and discovers that before becoming a housewife, she was a stand-up comedian. And she was famous. She had an audience, a career, and a past life that had been completely wiped from her memory.
Well, my adoptive parents are Chinese, so I'm the tallest member in generations. I go to my family reunion and they're all like, Godzilla! Ah!
The problem is that her entire act was built on racist jokes about Asians, which is particularly awkward given that she was adopted by Chinese parents. Francine immediately decides that comedy is her true calling and dedicates herself to reviving her career. Stan refuses to support her. He avoids watching her stand-up, convinced she is making a mistake. When she finally convinces him to come to a performance, she throws up on stage. Assuming that her career is over, he leaves without a second thought. Instead, the performance earns her a sitcom deal on Fox. Francine leaves for Hollywood, embracing the life that had been taken from her. Back at home, Stan struggles with the loss of control over his life. Klaus tells him that if he wants Francine back, he needs to start listening to her. Stan finally takes action. He arrives on the set of her show and acknowledges every single conversation they had over the last 20 years that he had erased. He brings her 20 dogs, one for each year she had mentioned wanting one. He paints the kitchen purple, just as she had suggested. He finally gives attention to every topic she had ever wanted to discuss. Francine forgives him immediately. She never actually wanted to do all of those things. She just wanted to talk about them. She leaves her Hollywood career behind and moves back home. And her sitcom is quickly canceled for being too racist for television. And then life resumes as if nothing had changed. In the final scene, Francine revisits the original conversation that started it all, moving her parents into town. This time, with full control over her own thoughts, she considers it carefully before making a decision. She and Stan both agree that it's a terrible idea.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I think it's a terrible idea.
Me too.
If you've enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'd like this one too.